A one and a two and a chick-a-boom a chick.
Let me take a quick minute to tell you more about something that could make a huge difference for you and your spouse next year. My wife, Sarah, and I are hosting the Remodel Your Marriage, Life, and Business Retreat. It's down in Franklin, Tennessee on February 10th through 12th, 2026. Running a business is incredibly challenging and difficult. It adds a lot of pressure, a lot of stress, and sometimes some misalignment between you and your spouse. This retreat is all about spending intentional time uncovering what's working in your relationship, what you want to improve, and how to build a stronger life together. We did this in the fall of 2024, and it was fantastic. Here in February 2026, you'll hear from other remodeling companies and couples, gain clarity, and leave with a very clear and customized for you plan for 2026. One that, yes, supports your life and supports your business, but most importantly, your marriage. And we'll make sure that you have plenty of fun and time to enjoy everything that beautiful Franklin, Tennessee has to offer. If this is tugging at you even a little, head over to the link in the show notes and get all of the details. All right, let's get back to the show. Welcome to the Remodelers on the Rise show. Every time I ask a guest how to pronounce their last name, and it's kind of a little tricky, I usually butcher it, but I'm going to nail this one because you said it's kind of like Levi Strauss. It's kind of like if you punched me, Straub. So it's Dr. Joshua Straub.
That's perfect. You nailed it, Kyle.
Bam.
You nailed it first time. Great job.
We're talking to Dr. Joshua Straub, or whatever it is, from Tennessee. And before I introduce you, what's something we don't know about you, Josh? What's the thing that comes to mind that's kind of quirky or interesting?
I don't know that it's quirky, but the first thing that came to my mind was we live in a homestead. So we got a lot of chickens. We tried goats, and that was just a miserable fail. And that happened in the middle of last winter, and we don't really have a barn. So we were housing them in our garage and had a makeshift stable in our garage. And then they were just messy and pooping everywhere. And we just kind of said, and so this winter, I was out in my garage in the cold, and I had this visceral experience to last winter, and it really set me back. It was almost like a post-traumatic stress reaction to these goats. And so they are rehomed to family friends, and they are doing great. And we will stay on our homestead with the most low maintenance animals for the time being that we possibly can, because we have 3 children as well. So we are,
you live and learn. Sometimes you get some goats and then realize, all right, we got to step back from this and maybe
step back from goats, man.
Interesting. Now you say winter, like it's so cold down there. You're kind of in southernish Tennessee. Here in Michigan today, we got snow. We got 10 degrees, maybe 12 degrees. Like that's actually amazing. Winter.
Yes. And it is. And to be fair, I grew up in Pennsylvania. My wife's Canadian. Okay. We're flying next week to Calgary, Alberta for Christmas. And so it will be literally minus 10 Celsius, minus 12, I think is the average.
Legit. You know what winter is.
We know what that's like. But I mean, in the winter here, it does it's not like it's 30 degrees and we're like, there's moments it's in the teens, and there's days it's in the teens. So it's like, and when you're not used to that, when you get used to it, your blood warms up, and teens can just feel like whatever. But when you're not used to it, it does get pretty cold. So and especially when you have to go check them at like 9:30 and it's right before bed, and
that's rough. Yeah, that's rough. We're heading down to between Christmas and New Year's. We're spending some days down in Franklin, Tennessee, as a matter of fact, not too far from you. And there was some chatter in the family group text because my in-laws and my sister-in-law and nephew are going. Number one, it said, do you think we all can coordinate our leave times so that we can stop at Buc-ee's together in Kentucky on our way down? It's an American treasure. I've never been there. I've heard all about it. And then I know we weren't all totally sure about going, but I think considering how absolutely, she used the S word. I'm not going to use that. I don't swear. Crappy the weather's been and how cold it's been all month. I'm really starting to look forward to being able to go outside and maybe just a regular coat. It should be the case. That's
absolutely true. It should be decent enough to do a regular coat. You're right.
And we shall see. Josh is the president and founder of Famous at Home. He's a speaker, he's an author, he's a marriage and relationship coach. We chatted about a month ago after asking for some referrals and doing some research in February. Coming up in February 2026, my wife Sarah and I are putting on our second Remodel Your Marriage retreat. We have a number of couples signed up for it. Keep an eye out. Go to remodelersontherise.com or click the link in the show notes. You'll see all the details about it. And besides myself and Sarah speaking, Josh is going to be joining us on day one as an expert, really teaching us some great principles. We're going to give a little taste of that today. Before we kind of get into that, I just wanted you to kind of share a little bit of your history, how you've gotten to where you're at now, kind of how you ended up with this focus, and just tell a little bit of your story there.
Yeah. Thank you. And thank you for having me at the event.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to it. We started, I say we, that always will include my wife, Christy, because we do a lot of this together. We're counselors by trade, moved into the coaching space a number of years ago as we started working with leaders, primarily people who I really got started in the military, special operations, working with soldiers who were going overseas, they're dealing with deployment and their families. And then it started, with other, particularly men. For me in the beginning was, men who were famous on their stage, but then they come home and it's like, the biggest phrase I would hear is I can go to work and lead hundreds of people and I come home and I don't know how to lead my own family. And that really got started out of, that was a byproduct of first starting with kids, because we have a 13, 11, and a 5-year-old, and there's an age gap there for a reason. So our 13 and 11-year-old, when they were infants, like, it was brutal. We had a very rough early few years. My wife had different health issues related to pregnancy. We had babies that didn't sleep, and it was like God humbled us in the very thing he called us to, so we wouldn't pull our britches up too high, acting like we had it all together. And so I really started getting into the research and data on what will really make the biggest difference in raising our kids. Like, when I'm a grandparent, I'm looking back on the years that I was a parent, what will have made the biggest difference? And all of the research came back to this phrase of emotional safety. And it was like, if your children have an emotionally safe environment, and I can talk, I'll talk very specifically about what that means and looks like, both at the event, and I can get a little bit more into that today. But what I really found is that that led to every major outcome we desired in our kids, both in the present and in the future, where you're thinking about, well, what do I want my children to become when they're adults? Well, as I started getting into that, what I realized was that adults were coming to me with marital trouble because they're like, well, we've got to figure out our marriage before we can figure out how, because we can't even agree on how we parent, right? And so that's what led to this whole idea of, you're out there crushing it on your stage, or, the world is just competing for our time, attention, and identity. And when we come home, it's like, the greatest red carpet you'll ever walk is through your front door, is the phrase that I always use. Like, your biggest fans literally live under your roof and they're just clamoring for your attention. And so more than your clients, more than your board members, more than your employees, more than, all your quote unquote fans out in the world that we see out in the world, are those little ones and our spouses under our roof. And so what really got me even more into this then, as my wife and I started doing marriage intensives and we really started coaching families, was working with husband and wife teams. And so that was another fun thing that we do, because my wife and I are a team. We have our business together. We're married together. We parent together. We homeschool together. We have a homestead together. Like, we literally do everything together. And how you separate all of those so that you're maintaining a vibrant, healthy, emotionally connected marriage where you're still in love and not just roommates or business partners, has been a joy and a passion of ours to help couples manage that as well. So that's a little bit of an overview of what we do and who we are, and love doing it.
Perfect. Very good. I just have this picture of this homestead. What are low maintenance animals you have?
I mean, right now we've got chickens, ducks, and we've got cats and dogs, and we're chilling right now for that.
You considered sheep?
Eventually.
You just have to get through this goat PTSD.
I've got to get over that PTSD. We're also in the process of building a house, and I'm trying to make sure that we get that right before we bandwidth.
Everybody listening
All
to
about
this are remodeling business owners and juggling that. What you just mentioned there was just a great opening of number one, how you got into this, and a phrase that I've been playing around in my head is rightly ordering our lives. Rightly ordering our lives. I think my wife read it in a book here recently, and just been kind of thinking through that. And as business owners and as leaders, it is so easy for a business to start to get its little pangs into our lives. And if we're not careful, especially, not even just especially early on in the business, it can creep up at any time, where more and more of our identity gets caught up in our business, more and more of our time, more and more of our stress. And while most people would acknowledge that, oh yes, my marriage is so important to me. Oh yes, my role as a father or mother is very important to me. A person of faith, a person that volunteers here. You have to be very thoughtful and very purposeful in rightly ordering things. And I'm hearing some of that already. So tell us a little bit about this emotionally safe environment, emotionally safe marriage. Give us a little more depth on that.
Yeah. So, and I'll be talking about this specifically in February, but the whole
No,
idea
no,
there is,
not only in February, but February 10th, 2026 in Franklin, Tennessee at the factory. Super cool environment, right? The factory's cool.
that's right. That's right.
The
It is. It's
factory,
great. Fantastic. Yep.
the factory is amazing. We're going to
Yep.
start at like, I think 9 or 9:30ish, because we don't want everybody to have to get up super early. My wife and Sarah and I, we'll do some introductions. We'll get things going. And then this man, this Dr. Josh, is going to get up there and talk about this amongst other things. So yeah, give him a little taste. Give him a little
You're a good hype
taste.
man. Yeah.
Give him a little
You're a good hype
taste, but
man.
don't give him the whole thing.
Yeah. I won't give him the whole thing.
But actually
So,
give him a lot. I'm happy for you to give him a lot.
yeah. And it's hard to give the whole thing in 30 minutes, but, the whole idea is that there is, I mean, you think about it's very easy to live at the surface, right? It's very easy, especially when we're running businesses, as you were just mentioning. You're doing life, you're trying to pay the bills. It is a difficult environment financially, right now, and with the economy and everything. And so it's like we're doing everything we can to survive. And then if you have young kids and you throw young kids into the mix, you're also in survival mode. And when you're in survival mode, what ends up happening is you begin to take for granted those who are the safest people in your life. And so you're doing everything you can to survive, but your nervous system gets to a place where when you feel safe, it's when we let it out. It's when we are our safest. And so therefore, that's why I describe it as the idiotic ways we try to get our spouse to love us deeper. It's like, I'm going to protest. I feel disconnected from you. And I feel disconnected from you in part because of my own actions. And yet I'm going to blame you, and I'm going to make you be the problem because you didn't do X, Y, or Z the way that I expected you to do X, Y, or Z. And so what it does is we use sarcasm, we use victimhood or martyrdom. Oh, woe is me. I'm doing all of these things, and you just can't see that I'm doing all of these things. We use passive aggressiveness. We sigh. We're like, oh, and so these are the idiotic ways we try to get our spouse to love us deeper. Or we completely withdraw. We might yell. There's yellers. Whatever it is for you, there's a dance that we get in. We call them a pain cycle. There's a pain cycle we get in.
Do you think people listening to this may have? I know I could have raised my hand on a couple of those.
Yeah, I got it. Every single one of us do. Every one of us do.
A pain cycle.
If you think you don't, just ask your spouse which one you are, and they'll gladly tell you.
Okay.
And so we all have our pain cycle. Every single one of us do. Why? Because at the end of the day, and this might sound a little bit crazy for each of us, but this emotional safety thing, you're not just coming, if you're a parent, you're not just coming to a marriage deal. You're also going to get parenting insights, because at the end of the day, emotional safety is the hub of the wheel. So whether you do marriage as a spoke, parenting as a spoke, executive leadership as a spoke, emotional safety is the hub of the wheel. Why? Because in all of that stress and all of that survival, we learned as children the ways to cope when we felt overwhelmed, when we felt rejected, when we felt like we weren't enough, when we felt like we weren't worthy, when we felt like we didn't have what it takes, when it felt like I'm the only one that can control my circumstances, and therefore I have to dig my heels in to make money to survive, or whatever it is. It's like those messages and those ways that we have, our nervous system just automatically copes that way. And so, but those ways of coping come out sideways towards our spouse. And so a lot of times what we need is just someone to enter into our world and allow us to be able to move beyond the surface level of the day, the business of the day. Got to take the kids here, got to get this, got to square up the books, end of year, budgeting, all these things. It's like we get beyond the business of the day to get to the heart level of the day.
Hey, remodelers listening to this, you know how you're on job sites and you're like, man, this went wrong and that went wrong. Hey, this coaching and consulting thing is not for the faint of heart. We're using software. My internet totally went out. And Josh
It's all that snow. It's all that snow, Kyle. Yep. All the antennas are just weighed down, man.
It's the cold. It's the snow. And then, so I disappeared. I'm reconnected. Hopefully it will continue to work fine. And Josh and I were going, where did we leave off? So I said, I'll just tell the people the internet got disconnected, because while we run a professional podcast, it's still pretty laid back. So we were talking emotionally safe environment. Why don't you pick off approximately where we were?
Yeah, I'll try to remember that. So the issue is, and I was describing about how we really need, we become little children ourselves. We become the ways that we learned how to cope with those overwhelmed emotions where we feel like we need to be in control. We just learn to cope that way. And really, what we really need is for us to get beyond the business of the day. I remember where I was, beyond the business of the day, and start to identify what's really going on inside of us. And that's, if you're a person of faith, one of the proverbs says, to guard your heart, for it's the wellspring of life. And what ends up happening is even so, if when you get married, you become one flesh. It's like you have one marital heart to guard. And the issue with that is that we don't get into the heart. So we're trying to guard a marital heart, but what we're doing is we're taking care of the business of the day. And so it's really significant that we're able to start to pay attention to what it is that we are feeling and what's going on underneath, and start listening to each other in that. And I know men are like, man, like, I don't know if I want to talk about my feelings. And there's a proverb that says, you're really
selling this marriage retreat, buddy.
I know, right? Patience is better than power, and patience is better than cowardice. This is Proverbs 16:32. Patience is better than power, and controlling one's emotions than capturing a city or building a business or whatever. Because you can build the business, you can capture the city, but if you can't control your emotions, you will lose it. And the reality is you think you're in control because you're just suppressing them, denying them, or repressing them, but they're actually in more control of you in that moment than you are of them, especially if you start to see everything else around you start to crumble.
Yeah. I think the idea of, I think we study and we work so hard on the business side of things. When we did this marriage retreat the first time around, the 10, 12 couples who came, more than anything, it was a time to just slow down, think about things a little bit differently, consider some new ways of communicating with each other, consider some new skills that we can learn, to make a little bit of a plan of going, no matter what's been happening, we've got some new focus and new intentionality and new tools to put this plan that we kind of created together to move stronger forward. And when you're talking about, emotionally safe and understanding pain cycles, understanding, more of the root causes of some of this stuff versus, well, she's not being physical enough with me and or whatever it might be, whatever that thing is. She's not patient. She doesn't appreciate me. Whatever those things are, we need to slow down. We need to look for a little bit more of the root side of things. We need to stop blaming the other person and look at myself, Kyle. Look at yourself. What is it that you need to adjust, be more consistent with? Check your heart and your intentions behind things. It can be a scary thing to do. It can also be a beautiful and needed thing to do.
Yeah. And you're right, Kyle. It's both of those things. You got to hold the scary with the beauty, because I have the privilege of getting to see the beauty on the other side. But you also, the reason we stay where we are is because it's comfortable. And emotions in particular can feel very out of control. But the issue is, and this is where it's worked with special operations guys, is the very thing that they've been trained to turn off to survive on the battlefield is the very thing they have to turn back on to survive when they get back home.
Wow.
And so it's significant for all of us, because the question, I think for me, at the end of the day, the question remains, at the end of life, it really is all about your relationships. You look at end of life research, Bronnie Ware, others, where there's life regret. It's all about relationships. I wish if there was any regret on a deathbed, it's usually relationships.
Yeah.
And you think about the quality of your life rises and falls on the depth of your relationships. And one thing my wife often says is, you can really only go as deep with someone as they've been willing to go themselves. And to me, my challenge is to go.
Say that again.
You can only go as deep with somebody else as they've been willing to go themselves. And so to me, it's like, the deeper we go, the higher quality of life, the more fun life is. Because emotions, by the way, this is what's fascinating about emotions, is if you shut down and you repress, and whether you Netflix it out, whether you weed it out, whether you alcohol it out, whether you doom scroll, Instagram scroll it out, whatever we do to shut down uncomfortable emotion, you also shut down your ability to experience positive emotion, joy, happiness, all these things. And so our ability to truly experience a wide range of emotion is what leads to emotional health. And so the more we're suppressing the one, the more you're suppressing the other. And it just leads to a lack of quality of life and beauty around you.
Good. That quote from your wife was quite beautiful and wise. Could I adjust our speaking contract? Can I have her come and not you come? She sounds.
And I'll tell you what, I mean, at the end of the day, she would be the one you would want. Yeah.
Darn it. All right.
Yeah, she would be the one you want.
You people come into the marriage retreat. You'll have a little Josh. You'll have a little me. Luckily, my wife is also wise as well. So you'll have her taking care of that side of things. Marriage in a Fishbowl is another kind of title and part of what you're going to cover. Tell us what that means.
Yeah, so that really is about, when you are a leader in your community, in your local community, maybe your church, wherever that is, people look to you. I mean, people are looking to your marriage. People are looking to your life, and it can feel like you're in a fishbowl. It can feel like people are peering in, and then when that happens, it feels very difficult to be safe with other people. It feels very difficult to be real. So I just talked about what my wife said, the depth at which you're willing to go. A lot of times we're afraid to go deep with people because we're afraid of getting hurt by those people, or they're not people that we feel like we can go deep with because we're leading them in some way, or we're seen in our communities as somebody who is we just feel like we can't be real, transparent, vulnerable, if you will. And so that's really what that's about, is how do we live lives of authenticity and but also in healthy community. And so I just talked through 5 ways that you can do that, be teammates in marriage, and really live in authenticity. And I'll give you one of the let me see if I want to give this one, because this one might be one that I don't want to give, only because I don't want to leave you hanging. Kyle, you said it earlier. One of the things you said earlier was, and I talk about this, the willingness. You have to be willing, by the way, to do this. And one of the things that I talk about is I can teach relationship skills all day long, communication skill. I can teach all of that all day long. But if you're not willing to apply them, none of these skills, you can be a therapist. I mean, there are therapists who are divorced. They know all the skills. The question is are you, and there's 3 wills. We'll get into all 3 of them, but one of them you already mentioned, Kyle. I'm going to say it. It's your willingness to take 100. It's your willingness to change the only person you can, which is yourself, instead of trying to change your spouse. So it's your willingness to take 100% responsibility for your role in conflict. And so it's that ability to be able to look at that. And the one phrase that I use often, and this will be the crux of everything that we talk about on February the 10th.
Sounds about right.
What's that?
Yes, February 10th, the day
February
after
10th,
the day after my birthday.
Kyle, that was perfect.
No
So
pressure, but and we never met in
everybody,
person, but
bring your presents for Kyle on February 10th.
I like gifts.
So this is the one phrase that will be the crux of everything that we do is what's going on within your spouse's heart matters more than what's going on between the two of you. What's going on within your spouse's heart matters more than what's going on between the two of you. I was with a couple a few weeks ago, and it was fascinating because they're telling me this story, and this happens all the time. They were telling me this story of a moment where they were arguing and he slammed the door and there was a mirror on the back of the door and the mirror fell and broke. And they were telling me the story, laughing about it now. But I literally asked them, I was like, so what were you arguing about? They had no idea. No idea. It's rare that we remember what we were arguing about, but it's very common to remember how you felt in the argument. And so that is the key, is if we take 100% responsibility for going within our spouse's heart and fighting for what's going on in their heart, instead of focusing on what's going on between the two of us, everything else usually just begins to take care of itself. So I try to simplify all this down into very simple principles and practical strategies.
Love it. A lot of the listeners listening to this are all remodelers, and they're like, "How? I thought where's our talk about job costing and budget and markup and margin and sales process and charging for design and development and all of that stuff." And the reality is, if you followed my work for a long time, coaching a business owner, for me, I want you to make more money. We're going to reduce your stress and anxiety. We're going to make sure you build a successful business. But I have a very strong heart for knowing what's going on in my clients' lives, fixing things in the business to enable you to be more present at home. And this marriage retreat, when we did it the first time around, it was just it's fun. It's laid back. There were a couple tears. That's okay. There were some laughs, but everybody left recharged in their relationship with new tools and with a plan of, here's what we're going to do differently in the coming months and over the course of the year. And you spend time disconnecting from the business, coming to a cool location, hearing people that are passionate about this and have a heart to serve, which Josh, I know you do, and Sarah and I are heading down there as well with that intention. It's going to be a great couple days. Man, I'm kind of I usually don't sell things too hard, but I'm kind of selling it.
Can I speak to something you just said there to sell it even more?
Okay.
All the things that you talk about, run through that punch list again. Man, when are we going to talk about what are all the things that remodelers are worried about?
Oh, job costing and financials and sales process and, employee issues and marketing plans.
Okay. Yeah, there you go. So all those things, I'm just going to share this. When your nervous system is not keyed up, this is a fascinating thing. And I don't know how to describe it other than I think it's part of the upside down world of God that we live in, is that when our nervous systems are, you said this is a relaxed event, when our marriages, when our relationships when our nervous systems are not keyed up in fight or flight, when we are not in overwhelm, that is when it's like there's this surrender to the relationships that matter most. And it says, I'm going to prioritize those things. And I've lived this, guys. Like I'm telling you, as someone not in the same industry, but in a different industry with all the same worries and fears, when I've lived out of fight or flight and I've thought that it was my job to manage all these things to the neglect of others, I was not near as successful as when I just surrendered it and said, you know what, I'm going to prioritize. It's like you said at the beginning, Kyle, it's the ordering. I'm going to prioritize the things that bring me life and that bring our family life. And all of a sudden, you see your nervous system start to go. And it's only when you are in that state that you're more creative, that you're more imaginative, that you have more ways of solving problems, connecting with other people. And all of a sudden, you start to see all of those things that you worry about and you want to meet about from a leadership business perspective. They just start to take care of themselves. And I don't know how to describe it other than it's just I think it's a law of life that when we are truly living in peace, and we'll move from peace cycle, or from pain cycle to peace cycle in your marriage, February 10th. All those other things just start to reorder on their own in very profound ways.
Good. I'm getting kind of excited about it. Yeah, the other thing I said last time is if you come to the marriage retreat, Remodel Your Marriage, Life and Business, and you end up getting divorced within 90 days of the event, we give you all your money back. How's that for a guarantee?
That's very kind. That's very kind of you, Kyle. That's great.
I'm a businessman over here.
Great. That's great.
Very, very good. Yeah, I think even if you don't come, just a few things kind of fluttering in my head. There's something you heard here, whether it's how your own heart is going, how you're handling stress, how you're handling the emotion. Sometimes it's just good to, if you heard something, were reminded of something, the rightly order in your life, the emotionally safe thing, maybe even right now, send your spouse a lovely text. Find some good things that they're doing. If you've been in this pity party mode, or if you've been in the nitpicking every little thing that spouse of yours does, maybe look a little bit over here and say, number one, what's going on in their heart? How are they doing? Are they stressed? Are they tired? Are they fatigued? Are they not feeling connected emotionally and physically and spiritually and all that? Maybe just put some focus on serving and loving them without any expectation. What is their love language? Maybe bring them a little gift tonight. Maybe serve them with something around. Hey, you sit down. I'm taking care of dishes. I'm taking care of this tonight. You go rest. Do something, those little subtle changes, and you start adding those on top of each other over and over again. That can really shift things. So I share that, of just take something you heard today and implement it, or something that came to mind, and implement it. And then Josh, if you were to give one or two other little nuggets of wisdom from your years of working with couples and all of this, what's one or two? I want two. What's two more quick ones that come to mind for you?
Yeah, I'm going to echo just what you just said there. I think it's really important. It's so easy at the end of the day to just look at what didn't go well. Yeah. And any time that you felt seen, safe, heard, or you just felt like you connected with your spouse in some way, or you were proud of them, verbalize it. The power of life and death are on the tongue. And so often our what we're putting out is death and not life. Speak life, and speak life, because listen, there are things, for example, when I play with my wife's hair, I had no idea what that meant to her. I just never knew it. But like, she literally melts if I just play with her hair a little bit. It's like, but I never knew that until she told me. And so it's like, when you feel loved, it's like if your spouse just reaches over and holds your hand watching a movie, if you're whatever that is, maybe it was, you picked up the toys, the playroom toys today, and your spouse just felt seen by doing that, or you decided to make dinner instead, or whatever it is. I don't know. But it's like, voice the thing, the positive, the praise, where you felt loved, seen, heard, connected with, that sort of thing. So speak life over them. And then the other one that I would say is this, because again, I don't want you to focus so much on the negative. However, I do think it's important, and we'll talk about this in February, is there are so many things that are coming against our level of connectedness. And so often what we end up doing is we don't label them. We don't talk about them. And if you don't talk about your opponent, it'll become an elephant in your marriage. It will just waddle in, every now and again. You'll argue over it, but you never really resolve it. And unless it's in the light, unless you're talking about it. And by the way, opponents to intimacy, and when I say intimacy, I'm talking like not just sex, I'm talking like physical, emotional, spiritual, all levels of intimacy, your level of feeling connected with your spouse. What is that level, and what are the opponents to that level of connectedness? And so what I mean by that is, our greatest opponent came in weighing 8 pounds and 1 ounce. They can be good things. They can be your kids. They can be, your jobs, your businesses, that sort of thing. But name them. What is it? What is causing disconnection right now? We're in the holiday season, and it's like, hey, the busyness of the holiday season can create disconnection. Yeah. talk about ways that you can come together around those things so that you're staying connected, because the more you don't talk about it, the more you subtly begin to just disconnect.
Look, I'm the amateur over here. You got the DR in front of your name, but I'm gonna pick on two things. One, I don't think elephants waddle. I think they walk. They're powerful. If an elephant waddles in, no, they are powerful animals. You shouldn't even have any animals at this homestead of yours. You know nothing about animals.
They kind of waddle, man. They do. They just come when they're poking around. Their trunk is going back and forth, man. They're just, I mean, yeah, when they're ready to run, they're gonna run, but they're just waddling on in.
All I'm saying, it wasn't the goat's fault. It was your fault. You don't know how to handle and talk about animals. And number two, maybe it is the playing with the hair. Now, my wife has short hair, so she sprays it this and that. There's nothing she hates more than me playing with her hair. So
see, there it is.
Take the right.
That's what I'm saying.
One of the things that we shared at the first retreat, and it'll come out again. Be a student of your spouse. Be a 100%. Student of your spouse. I know. We've been married 20 years. If you've been married for more than a year or 2 years or 4 years or 6 years, if you don't understand your spouse and what makes them tick in positive ways and negative ways, and you aren't adjusting how you are approaching, behaving, get your crap together. Come on, we should be better at getting along. And I know things happen. I know hurts happen. And I know pain happens. And I know all of that. At the same time, commit today to be a student of your spouse. Understand what they love. Understand what makes them feel safe and heard and appreciated. And especially if you're sitting there having a pity party for yourself because you're not, I'm talking maybe a little bit more to the men right now. If you're having a pity party for yourself because she's not doing this and she's not doing that and she's not touching you there and she's not this and that, stop, do everything you can to just quiet that and just figure out, how can I love and serve this woman with total unexpected, no expectations, and watch how you consistently do that, how she softens and how she shifts. Be a student of your spouse. Elephants waddle, please. Josh, that was fun. It's going to be fun in February. You're just coming for day one. Now that you've gotten into this, you're probably going to want to stay for day two. Who knows?
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, you have another commitment. You have another commitment.
I've got to get rid of the other commitment. I don't know how well that'll go.
We're gonna love having you. Go to remodellersontherise.com. Click on the Remodel Your Marriage. We'll have a great time. Josh, thank you for sharing your wisdom, your experience, and we look forward to seeing you in a couple months.
Kyle, thank you for having me. It's an honor being with you.